Welcome to the Startup Funding Espresso. I'm Hall T. Martin, where we talk about how to raise funding and invest in startups and the time it takes to drink an espresso. If you have a question about startup funding or investing, please go to the website, startupfundingespresso.com, and type in your question into the chat bot in the lower right corner to receive an answer. I hope you enjoy this episode. Hello, this is Hall T. Martin with the Startup Funding Espresso, your daily show of startup funding and investing. Critical thinking is defined as the objective analysis and evaluation of an issue in order to form a judgment. It's a skill that determines what is false or true. It involves cognitive biases and logical fallacies. Cognitive biases cause a bad decision when one thinks it is a good one. Logical fallacies sound true but are in fact false. Startup founders should practice critical thinking skills in developing their startup, as it will help avoid mistakes. Critical thinking helps you make better decisions. It makes your proposal and pitch to investors more compelling. Critical thinking is based on evidence. The investor will review your pitch based on the evidence provided. Solid evidence and logical conclusions will help convince the investor your startup will succeed and should be funded. The goal of any startup pitch is to convince the investor that your startup will succeed with or without the investor. Investors support those startups because the success is assured and does not rely upon the investor to provide heroic actions to achieve it. Consider applying critical thinking skills to your pitch deck before presenting to investors. Thank you for joining us for the Startup Funding Espresso, where we help startups and investors connect for funding. Let's go start listening to today. Hall T. Martin is the director of Investor Connect, which is a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to the education of investors for early-stage funding. All opinions expressed by Hall and podcast guests are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinion of Investor Connect. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon as a basis for investment decisions.